Previously on the inventory.
Now I can't tell you who to believe or who not to believe. All I can do is ask. My name is Airwaves, we are the inventory, and we're not going anywhere.
Oh, come now, cover story. Certainly you have to admit that those funny papers of yours are hardly on par with the rest of the Brony created content.
I found this interesting little photograph lying underneath my chair during the broadcast today.
Just give it back!
Oh, I'll give it back, all right. But first you have to take back what you said about comic books. And while we're at it, you can present one on the air.
This is blackmail, you know.
This tea is a little different than usual. I'm not feeling so funny. Hola y bienvenidos al inventario aquí en la estación de radio KPNY.
Get him out!
Come on, King
Ray.
Sombrero, let's go! Are you absolutely sure?
Yeah! According to the janitor Orange Glow, that's what the nurse said. It was definitely poison joke.
Now I want whoever it was that poisoned the tea to speak up so we can find out who was behind this.
I see how it is. Looks like I'll have to find out who did this myself.
I think it's time Quest learns just how real this invasion is.
And now for the continuation of the inventory on KPNY.
Fess up. You can't hide the truth from me.
You'll never make me talk. I'm not gonna tell you nothing.
Don't give me that, you punk. I know that you know that you know.
Ha! You'll never take me alive, Copper.
Don't play games with me, sound effects. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. Now, I think that you and I would both prefer to do this the easy way. We can walk out of here nice and dandy. All you gotta do is talk.
And what if I don't?
Then we do it the hard way.
You don't have the guts.
Wanna bet?
All right, I'll talk. Just don't hurt me. I'm a waving fools.
Wife? No, you don't.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
All right, then. Spit it out, Cole. Tell the truth.
Okay, I didn't mean it.
Aha! I knew it! You're going to be put away a long time for the sound effects.
I know. I'm sorry, but I just couldn't help it. It was just so tempting.
Then why did you do it?
Well, what else was I supposed to do with all those balloons?
I knew only you would sing solo to... Wait, what?
Yeah, it was me. I was the one who filled Fairy Tale Study with cake batter balloons.
What are you talking about? I want to know why you put poison joke in my tea.
Oh, that. Yeah, that wasn't me.
It wasn't?
Nope, but I will admit it was pretty darn hilarious. I wish I thought of it myself.
But I was so sure it was you.
Sorry, but I've been working with the equipment all morning. Hey, maybe it was hardcover? I mean, you know how much he likes practical jokes.
Airwaves, we have a problem.
What? What happened now?
You know, you'd think we'd all get used to this by now. She barges in like this every 2 weeks.
Would you be quiet? A newspaper reporter is in the building.
So, the Manhattan Gazette has been covering us for months. Not to mention every other media outlet this side of Appaloosa wants to interview us.
No, you don't understand. This is...
That's quite enough of that, Toots. I think I can handle it from here.
Who in the name of Cadence's sudden appearance are you?
Name's Freelance, uncoverer of the undercover. I'm a journalist who will scratch the ink whoever pays the most bits.
So in other words, you're just a bottom-feeding writer for hire. I've worked with your kind before. We have nothing to talk to you about.
You ain't dealt with a journalist like me before. I can guarantee that. I've come here on behalf of the Manhattan Orange. Heck of a rag, but it plays pretty well. Seems the Orange has pegged you as some sort of conspirator, creating this false story to spread chaos across the land. And I'm here to prove it, one way or the other.
You can't honestly believe that.
Personally, Toots, I don't really care if you're a fraud or not. I'm just an honest stallion doing an honest job.
Honest my flank, you cad!
Cover story. Do you know this, Pony?
I'm Manhattan too, you know. This guy's well-known sleazeball, Freelance. Yeah, I've heard of him before. He works for any paper that'll take him and will resort to any means necessary to fulfill his employer's needs. The few pieces he's done for the Gazette have been complete rubbish. I know because I'm the one who wrote the retractions. I know about the Manhattan Orange as well. It's not as much as a newspaper as a tabloid. They're surrounded with rumors regarding shady sources and skewed facts.
Funny you should mention my skewed facts. You know I ain't the only one with a reputation cover story. After all, I'm sure you still remember the Celestia story.
Sorry, Mr. Freelance, but none of us are taking any interviews. So there's no story for you here, and I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
See? We don't want your kind around here.
I'm afraid not, Feathers. You know what this is?
Press pass?
This is an officially issued, and it is recognized by your boss pony. As long as I have this, I have full access to your studio, with the exception of the equipment room and offices.
Horse apples.
I'll be taking notes in the sound booth, if you don't mind. Well, even if you do, I'm still going to anyway.
We'll be on the air soon. We don't have time for this.
All right, we'll deal with this later. Go grab hardcover.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh?
I forgot. That was the other thing I was going to tell you.
Curtain call? You're scaring me.
It's hardcover. He's got the pony pox.
Ponypox? Is that a foal's disease?
Oh, sweet Celestia sound effects. You have to go fill in for him.
Oh, no. I'm not ready to go on air.
Cover story?
Sorry, pal. Wish I could help you.
I'll just have to come up with something myself then.
You know, I didn't come here without doing some preemptive investigating. Thanks to your friend over there, linking all that brony below on the Equestrian Infonet. Now any pony can access all the brony site pages. And I just so happen to have a nice review prepared. I was going to make a column piece for the Orange, but you know what? I likes yous guys. So I'll do you a favor and give you the exclusive rights.
Of all the idiotic, you can't trust this pony!
I don't know. Are you sure you want to go on the radio with some pony that's trying to spread chaos across Equestria?
Alright, fair enough. How about I cut you in a deal then? I'll lay off the story for now. And if you can convince me that you and the bronies are exactly what you say they are, then I'll leave you alone.
Guys, the commercials are ending.
What do you say, Waves? Can you convert me?
All right, fine, you got yourself a deal. Freelance? I'll show you what I'm made of.
But airwaves!
I know. But I made a promise that I would convince Equestria of the truth behind the bronies, even if it's one pony at a time.
We're going live.
I hope you know what you're doing.
Yeah, so do I. Good morning, every pony and every brony, and once again to the inventory on KPNY Radio. Ponyville's radio, and if you're not listening to KPNY Radio, then get your keister to the radio. I'm your host, Airwaves, and today I've got a very, very special guest, all the way from Manhattan, representing an organization that wishes to remain anonymous. He has agreed to read and present to you another story written by the Bronies of Earth for your enjoyment. Fillies and gentle colts, I give you Freelance.
That's right, freelance, traveling reporter.
More like traveling Snoop.
I was passing through the neighborhood, saw a nice little radio station, and I thought I might take over. Oh, come off it, Airwaves, that was a joke.
Yeah, right. Now then, Mr. Freelance, why don't you tell us a little bit about the story you've brought for us?
You got it, bub. Today I got this little story, what goes by the name of Flitter, by the author Nergoods.
Gesundheit.
A funny pony, huh?
I try my best. So, what's the story about then? Report it to me.
I'm sure you all remember the changeling invasion of Canterlot during the royal wedding. Well, maybe them aliens don't.
I promise you they are surprisingly well informed in our history and goings-ons.
Well, of course they are. They're spies who have been watching our every move, after all. Well, of course, as their consort, you already knew that.
Excuse me?
Gotcha there. Now then, this story centers around those events.
Alright. Go on.
Well, you see, it stars a changeling named Flitter, who for the past 20 years has been living out the life of this stiff of a pony by the name of Star Swift. Now, all for the sake of Swift's wife and kid.
Ah, I get it. By replacing this pony, Flitter was going to feed off the love of their family.
Nuh-uh. Sorry, Airwaves, but that ain't the way things go down. Flitter takes on Star Swift's life out of moral duty to save his family the grief.
A changeling doing something nice? I always knew the bronies had amazing imaginations, but this?
Not every pony has ulterior motives, right, Airwaves?
Huh. I guess you're right. I suppose some creatures in this world are just misunderstood and antagonized when they're trying to do good around them.
You could stop trying to be so righteous. I ain't got no opinion on the whole brony thing. After all, it's not like there's any proof that they even exist outside of the reports of this station.
Let's just get back on topic, shall we? So, Flitter starts living out the life of a pony in Canterlot.
That's right, Stiff. Until the day of this invasion, that is.
Well, what happens to him?
Well, I'm sure you recall that lovely little shield that Shining Armor used to expel the Changeling army.
Oh yeah, I remember. Those creepy things got what they deserved, didn't they?
Well, Flitter didn't deserve it. And that shield didn't discriminate. It blasted him off just like the others, revealing him for what he is.
That's too bad. I got to say, this author is doing a good job of actually making me feel sorry for a changeling.
Without the aura needed to turn him back into Star Swift, there's no way for him to regain his disguise, leaving him to patch things up with not only his understandably confused wife, but the town's ponies and leaders of the parties involved.
What do you mean by aura?
Well, a changeling just can't become any old pony willy-nilly. They need to be in proximity of the pony they wish to become, in order to become them. Once they change, they could stay that form indefinitely. And of course, the aura is of no use if the pony is dead.
And of course, let's remind our listeners that this is just within the confines of the story, right? We're not saying that we know exactly how changeling magic operates.
I'm surprised to hear you say that, actually. You seem to be the go-to pony for this strange species. You seem to have some fear towards changelings. But how are they so different from these humans you love so much?
Hey, stop putting words in my mouth.
Or is it that there's no need to be afraid of beings you invented yourself, for your own purposes?
I refuse to allow you to slander me on my own program. Shape up, or I'll kick you out of the studio.
Now, Airwaves. I'm just asking simple, routine questions. Ain't that what you always do?
You want to sit there and call me a liar and fraud? That's fine. But do so to my face, not on the air. Let's go ahead and cut to commercial so that you and I can settle some of our differences and finish this broadcast in a professional and civilized manner.
Well, if that's the way you think it will happen, I suppose we can try it your way. So, dear listeners, kick back to these smooth jams while your host and I have a little talk.
It started back at home. Endlessly I would roam, trying to hide away from the mean things other fillies would say. And I'm sorry for the teasing and the pain, but I just couldn't face it again. Left the big city behind, to my cousins for some peace of mind. But my problems found a way to follow me, and I turned to my own family. And I'm sorry for the teasing and the pain, but I just couldn't face it again. Then I realized I was wrong, and that all of us could get along. Soon we made amends, compadre sisters and the best of friends. And I'm sorry for the teasing and the pain, but I just couldn't face it again. But I just couldn't face it again. No, I just couldn't face it again. I just couldn't face it again.
You know the drill by now. It's time for some commercials.
This is your local news at KPNY, and I'm your local correspondent. Press release. Cupcake calamity! Sugar cube corner caught in a baking scandal. Recent use of giant high-caliber weaponry mistakenly loaded with batter compared to confetti. Cleanup crews expected to have the mess cleaned up by this evening. Details at 11. I'm press release.
Hassled by high-pressured salesmen who won't take no for an answer? Then you need Fluttershy's Minotaur Repellent. We're standing by to take your cash or credit so that we can send you a tube before you change your mind. Fluttershy's Minotaur Repellent, because no means no.
Greetings, every pony. This is Radio Sports on KPNY, and I'm Jockey Straps with the sports. The Wonderbolts Grand Prix will be premiering soon in Cloudsdale, and the event is open to any pony hearing the sound of my voice. And as long as you're a Pegasus, that is kind of important too. So remember, every pony, Cloudsdale and Pegasus. I am Jockey Straps, and that's the sports here on KPNY.
And we're back. This is Freelance, and you're listening to this show in this radio station in Ponyville. And if you're not listening to the radio, well, then it really don't matter what I say to you. Airwaves ain't quite back yet, but I figured I can continue with the show without him. What he don't know won't hurt him, right? And after all, it can be hurtful. The truth, that is. It only takes one charismatic voice to fool an entire nation and cause all kinds of panic.
Okay, I'm back. Now, we agree, right? When we go back on the air, no bickering, no mudslinging, just stick to the presentation, alright?
Fair enough. I've said my piece.
Alright. I'm ready. Huh? The on-air light's already on. It must be on the blink again. Well, I'll have Orange Glow go fix it later, but how do I know when to... Sound effects, wake up!
Huh?
How much longer are the commercials?
What? Oh, yeah, we're good to go.
Welcome back, every pony and every brony, to the inventory on KPNY Radio, Ponyville's radio. And if you're not listening to KPNY Radio, then you're not listening to the radio. I'm Airwaves, and I'm back with special reporter Freelance. Now, there's no need to worry. We've worked out some of our problems during the break, and we are now ready to continue our discussion of the story Flitter by Neurgods. Now, you were saying something about how other forces get involved with Flitter and the changeling's little identity crisis?
Well, yeah, sure. Flitter, living out another pony's life for 20 years, causes quite a bit of stir, both in Canterlot's nobility and Flitter's own hive, which, mind you, exists separate from the Queen Chrysalissa's own hive.
Whoa. So you're telling me that in this story there's more than one changeling hive?
That's the way it's written.
Is that actually possible? I mean, I thought only that Queen Chrysalis was the sole ruler of the changelings.
Well, I wouldn't know too much about that. And if there were, I ain't heard of them yet. But what really makes this story interesting is that Flitter gets caught up in a struggle between Celestia and his hive's own ruler, and it will ultimately fall upon his shoulders to placate them.
This concept of a changeling being a hero is very intriguing. What can you tell me about the main character himself?
Not so different from you or me, really. He is duty-bound to carry out the role that was brought upon him, and he does care deeply for his adopted family. Whenever things go wrong, his mind drifts towards his wife and son. That being said, he does feel fed up with the bias and discrimination he witnesses against changelings. Still, his sense of duty and devotion, and the snarky sense of humor, gets him through it.
You actually do have a point there.
I do, huh?
Why do we hate changelings? Yeah, sure, you can bring up the fact that they attacked our capital, but let's be honest. How many ponies actually knew that changelings existed before then? Media and news teams keep bringing up those changelings live among you stories to scare us, but even if there are changelings hiding amongst the ponies, is that necessarily a bad thing? What if they're not spies? But what if they're just trying to live out a peaceful life? We ponies are so quick to judge and persecute others through looks or association. You can't blame them for hiding when we don't even have the courage to approach them ourselves.
Well, yeah, that sounds good on paper, but not sure the families that went through the Canalon invasion would be able to forgive so easily. You're just trying to change the subject. You think if you could get Equestria to accept something as disgusting and evil as changelings, then the Brony armies can come in and take over everything. It's all a trick, I tell you!
No, just the opposite. Changelings, diamond dogs, griffins, zebras even. I think they fear us just as much as we fear them. That fear turns into hatred. However, if we stand up and try to learn about them and tolerate those who are different...
You've got quite the silver tongue. It's no wonder you've been able to rock the boat so much recently. You're gonna be a tough nut to crack, alright.
Anything else you wish to add about Nirgud's flitter?
Only that the story itself is a perfect example of duality. Two lives, two nations, and two star-crossed lovers clash and collide in an exciting manner that will keep you glued for a good 30,000 words, encompassing 6 chapters, complete with epilogues and bonus chapters. And I'd like to bring up a similar changeling-focused story. It's a short one called Faith by Nine's Tempest, and it follows the concept of Ponyville's Fluttershy as a changeling.
And you can make sure that both Pony and Brony listeners will have access to both of these stories through their respective systems. But for now, I think that we here at the Inventory have more than said our piece on the subject. Thank you all for listening, and we hope you tune in next time.
I'm sure they will. After all, it's quite easy for ponies to listen to a charismatic mad pony, especially one who spouts out reports of aliens and spies.
Say goodnight already, Freelance.
How about instead, I'll say, see you again.
We'll see about that. This is Airwaves, signing off. You just wanted to use that broadcast to spread those lies about me.
And who's the one who agreed to put me on air?
You said you would lay off your story.
I did. I didn't say a single word about it. Any conclusions a pony makes is entirely on them. By the way, fantastic speech. You certainly earned that cutie mark of yours.
You'll never be allowed on this show again, you hear me?
That's fine by me. Doesn't really matter what I say now, does it? Just remember that I still got a story to write, so I'll be sticking around for a while.
Why?
Excuse me?
Why are you so persistent in doing this to me? Why do you care so much whether I'm spreading lies or causing a panic or whatever?
I don't.
What?
I don't really know if you're telling the truth or not, or what your intentions are. For all I know, the bronies really are real. But quite frankly, I don't care. I've been given a mission, and I'm going to carry it out no matter which ponies get in my way.
I ought to buck you in the face, you greedy little...
You sure I'm the one you need to be worrying about? After all, you might have a saboteur in your midst.
Is that supposed to be some kind of threat?
All I'm saying is that this little war of words you're raging is no joke. I'll be seeing you around, Waves. Try not to disappoint me.
Man, how can this get any worse?